What's going on, guys? Welcome into episode number 35 of the Ask Tony Show. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I'm pumped. Christmas is right around the corner, and there's still no snow outside, so I'm pumped about that. Some of you guys may disagree. If you do disagree, you're terrible people. But anyways, let's get started.
What 3 questions do you most commonly ask your clients when meeting them for the first time?
So when clients first choose to work with our team, one of the first things that I try to figure out is, number one, what do you need? Like what is most important to you, right? For example, for some people, they're really big on communication. Like they want to be in the know. Some people don't want to be in the know. They want to feel like it's taken care of. They want to feel like, they don't want to know all the detail. Like they don't have to be there. They trust that it's being taken care of. Also, obviously, what are they looking for? What kind of home are they looking for? What's their price range? What do they need? What are their needs? How many bedrooms do they need? Do they need a yard? Do they need to be in a specific area? Because for a lot of people, buying real estate is a very stressful situation, and it's a life-changing one. Because if you live in one city and then you move to another city, and it's during the school year, for example, well, then you have to move your kids to a different school. That can be stressful, things like that. And so I try to figure out exactly what they need, and if it's possible to find what they need in their price range. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. And when it's not, I really try hard to get them to kind of see the upside of buying whatever it is that they can buy, because always being an owner of property is better than not owning property. But I try to figure out exactly what they're looking for. And number 3, I try to figure out time-wise what's going on in their life. A lot of people, they have events coming up, or sometimes lease agreements that are expiring. There are things that are happening that might speed things up or that might slow things down, if you will. For example, if it's right now in November, December, and you have a lease agreement that expires in April, then that's going to slow you down a little bit. Versus if you have a lease agreement that expires on January 1st, then you have to go really, really fast, right? And so I think that the combination of what the person's looking for, and at the same time, what is their personality? What do they value? And what is most important to them, I think, is really the key. Because people are wildly different. I have one lady who calls me every 5 minutes. She wants to know every detail. She wants somebody to cater to her specifically. She's very special. And then I have another guy who really doesn't want to be bothered. Like he's very specific in what he wants. I've had multiple conversations with him. He's like, you guys know what I'm looking for. You know what my budget is. Help me find it. And he doesn't want to be bothered for something that is not urgent. And so I can't kind of take the same approach with both people, if you will. One requires an obnoxious amount of attention. The other, sometimes I need to talk to him and I can't reach him. So, if at the initial conversation I can figure out what their personality style is and what they're looking for, it usually works out.
How can efficiency and creativity better work together?
I talked about this in the last show where we talked about operators and creatives. But I think that when you talk about creativity, there always has to be people in your organization that are thinking about the next thing, or that are thinking about new opportunities, new angles, new ways to market. And then there has to be another person that is on the receiving end of those ideas that knows how to channel them the correct way. Now, where I think creativity can rob efficiency a little bit is if you're so obsessed with proving new ideas and all your focus is there, then you might lose a little bit of efficiency in your day-to-day, because there are still things that need to get done. For example, I always give the example of our own company. We have clients that are under contract, clients that are doing showings. At the same time, we're trying to implement new marketing strategies and new things, but I can't stop taking care of the people that are already in the funnel because I'm trying to figure out a new marketing strategy, if you will. So both things have to go hand in hand. And I think here's where time management becomes very, very, very important. To really itemize your week, make sure that you have meetings for new opportunities, meetings for new marketing, and that you're giving those ideas oxygen, because there's nothing worse for a creative than them feeling like they have a good idea and then it's ignored. So you have to give those ideas a place to land, but then at the same time with your operators, you have to make sure that you're still taking care of what you have to take care of while still making room for improvements and adjustments. And it's a very delicate line that a lot of people get wrong. And if you get wrong, people get discouraged. People feel like they're not heard. Or maybe the operators, they feel like we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. They feel like our head is in the clouds. And so you really have to play both sides, clouds and dirt, to make sure that everybody is heard and that things are actually getting done.
What is the best way to scale a business with an inherently low profit margin?
So I think that profit margin is something that you have to think about when you first start a business. It's very difficult to scale companies that have low profit margins. And if you don't know what a low profit margin basically is, how much money you're making. So if I'm selling this phone and it costs me $950 to make this phone and I sell it for $1,000, then I'm only making $50, right? So it's very low profit margin. There's not a lot of margin there. There's not a lot of profit there. So when you're operating in a business that has very low profit, it's difficult because you have to sell a lot in order to make a lot of money. For example, food is usually in this scenario, unless it's very high-end food. But what I would say is that you want to try to maximize wherever you can. And if you can make your product better, if you have a low margin product and you can make it better, hence increasing your margins, I think that's what you have to really focus on. There's nothing wrong with having a low margin business, but you have to be mindful that you're going to have to sell a lot. One of the reasons why I like real estate is because in real estate, it's a huge margin business because it's a service, right? So if I know that my CAC is about $250 and I know that that client can bring $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 in commissions, those are ridiculous margins, right? It doesn't cost me very much and I can make a lot. So it's very high margin. So I think that if your business is low margin, start trying to find ways, kind of going back to creativity, to make improvements so that you can start increasing your margin, increasing your prices, decreasing your costs, becoming a premium product, I think is the way to go, because otherwise you're going to have to sell a ton of stuff in order to even make a dent.
How important is failure? You hear a bunch of people say how important it is to fail, but is it really?
So failure is an interesting concept, and I kind of see it opposite from a lot of my contemporaries. You always hear these stories that you have to fail, you have to fail, you have to fail. I don't think you have to fail. I think that if failure comes, it's because you made a mistake. If failure comes, it's because in some way you were not good enough. Now, it's true that you can learn from those experiences, but I think that we have to be careful to not over-glorify failure. And I've learned this with my mentor. You know, he wins all the time. He doesn't fail very often. The reason why is because he's educated, because he's prepared, he's smart, he has the right people. So that, I think, has more merit than somebody who fails over and over and over again. So I think that we have to be very careful. Is there lessons to be learned from failure? Sure, absolutely. But in my context, I don't even see it as a failure because I play such a long game that if something doesn't go right today, I don't see that as a failure. It's part of the journey. Like, I haven't failed. I'm still in the game, if you will. The game is not over. And so I think that if you have the mentality that it's short term, right? I failed and I got to get back up again. And then I fail and I got to get back up again. I think that's very exhausting over time. So the way I look at it is, I didn't fall. I'm still going, right? I'm still going. And I don't see it as a failure. But that's just my opinion. Again, a lot of people disagree with this because a lot of personal brands are built on failure to success stories, which is cool. But in my opinion, you should try to avoid losing, because also I had a conversation with an entrepreneur where he had failed, or he was failing, and he was actually like excited about it. And I was like, you know, the reason why he was excited about it was because he felt like now he had a story, right? And he could tell people, oh, I failed, and people were going to respond positively to his failure. But I'm like, bro, you still lost. Like, don't lose sight of the fail. Like, you know what I mean? So he was excited about it. And I think that that is not a healthy way to go about it. I think that you have to seek to win and not see it as a failure. Just keep going, and eventually you'll get there.
I believe there is so much to be gained from social media, but what do you think we have lost or are in danger of losing?
So, interesting question. I think that there's two extremes here. One extreme is, what do I feel that there is to lose? It's nothing. Because if you're smart, if you're genuine, if you have a good plan, if you're trying to put out content, if you're trying to provide value, there's nothing to lose. There really is nothing to lose, because you're really putting your knowledge out there. You're trying to help people, and you really don't have anything to lose. It's part of business. It's part of marketing. So you have to do it somehow anyway. So I don't think there's really anything to lose, versus the other side, which is you have everything to lose if you're fake. If you're fake, if you're not genuine, if you're a hypocrite, if you're bad to people behind their back, if you're not really trying to help anybody, if you take advantage of people, eventually those things will come to light. So you can be the coolest, nicest person on Instagram or on YouTube or on Facebook, but if you're a jerk behind everybody's back, eventually that's going to come back to bite you. And I feel like there are a few things that people dislike more than somebody that's fake. In society, we do not like fake people. We'll forgive you for whatever you do if you're real, if you're genuine, if you come out. Let's say you make some sort of mistake, right? In society, and we see it all the time with celebrities or politicians or whatever. If you own up to your mistake and you apologize and you try to make it right, society will forgive you. We're all about second chances, and we love those kinds of stories. But if you're fake, if you're not real, if you take advantage of people, if you're prideful, we hate that stuff. So again, I think that if you're a good person, you have nothing to lose, because also you choose what you put on social media. Nobody obligates you to put something on there that you don't want to. So you decide what you share. And if you have good intentions and you really want to do something good, then there's nothing to lose. Versus, because you choose what you share, if you only share stuff that isn't real and that is fake, eventually people are going to find out and you have everything to lose.